Okay, hi everybody. We're back for another little art video. Today we are going to be learning how to do this type of drawing. This can be done in pencil, paint, or marker. I chose marker, but you can use any of those mediums that you have at home or that you like. So this is super simple, but it can be done with other subjects. We'll include some references in the email. So you can really take this concept and make it a lot more detailed, or you can really simplify it like I've done here. So no matter if you're in foundations, beginner, junior, advanced, or senior, this is something that you can do just depending on what type of subject you prefer. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. So what you're going to need for this project is an HB pencil, an eraser. You're going to need a permanent marker, preferably Sharpie, but whatever you have is good. And you're going to need some markers or pencil crayons. It's really up to you. The colors that you're going to need are different shades of blue. So, you know, whatever shades you like. A couple different shades of green. So I'm just gonna take a couple, probably, 2 or 3. It's up to you. And then a red, an orange, and maybe like a yellow orange. So these are pretty much the materials that we'll be using. But again, you can even do this with paint. If you have paint at home, you can do this with pencil crayon, you can do this with marker, you could do this in black and white. So it really doesn't matter what you use. It's totally up to you and depends on what you have at home. So let's start by drawing this middle fish. Now, the shape of this koi fish is a little bit hard to describe or compare to, but we could just start with an oval. Okay, just gonna press a little harder so that you guys can see. And then from the oval, you can just make the tail. Okay, maybe it's not as long, maybe it's a little wider. And then we can make our fins, which are kind of like a raindrop. Okay, and then go in and just erase any of the lines that you don't need. If you press harder, it's definitely gonna be harder to erase those lines. So as always, press super lightly so that you can erase later. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so that's one fish. Oh, I actually forgot. We can actually add even another pair of fins to the back of the fish. Okay, so we're gonna wanna repeat this now, but this fish is gonna be the only fish that's actually on the paper. All of these fish are gonna be off the paper. So let's start with this one. This one, we can do the same thing. Now, if you understand the shape, you don't have to do the full oval. You can kind of just draw the shape as it is without the breaking down of shapes. But if it's easier and it helps you, then you can go in and you can draw the oval first. Okay, same thing. Let's just draw those fins and the fins at the back. So that's another one. And now let's do the one at the top here. So this one's gonna be kind of like coming into the little pond that we have. So we're only really gonna see that much of it. Okay. So that is that. I'm just gonna move this over so you guys can see the full effect. Now we need to draw the little lily pads. So a lily pad shape is basically like an oval or a circle that has a point that's cut out of it. So you can start by making kind of like 2 semicircles and then cutting out a point. Okay, so that's good. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to move the markers. So now what we can do is we can do another one, just a little lily pad like that, and one more that comes this way. Okay, so once you have that, what we can now do is we can now start drawing some lines that are going to go across the paper. This is super free. There's no rules. Draw how many lines you like. I would say don't do too many, because that's just going to mean that you have a lot more little spaces to color in. So actually the less the better. But again, if you're up for the challenge and if you want to make it a little bit more detailed, then you can do that as well. So I'm just going to start by just drawing some random lines, and even, you know, drawing some shapes, some shapes that kind of come out from here. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm just gonna make this shape a little more interesting. So once you're done that, you can take your Sharpie marker, and we're just going and we're gonna outline everything. Now this is because when you're using your marker, or mainly marker, if you're using pencil crayon, I would also recommend this for paint. It doesn't really matter, but for paint, I would actually recommend that you outline after. But for people who are using pencil, crayon, and marker, let's go in and let's just outline so that we can erase all the pencil once it's dry, and the pencil won't seep through when we're coloring it. Okay, so I'm just gonna start. Now this is also a great opportunity for you to maybe adjust some things that you didn't like. So there were definitely some lines in here that I didn't like. So I kind of just fixed them with my Sharpie. Okay, so once you have that done, you're gonna wanna let this dry. So give it a couple minutes for it to dry, and then we can come back and we're gonna start filling it in. Okay, so once that's done, we can go in with our eraser and we can just erase all of the lines that we don't need. If you notice that your permanent marker is smudging, just stop and wait a couple more minutes. You don't want to have it be smudged. So once all of your lines are erased, let's go in and let's start to fill in our fish and our lily pad. So for the fish, you're gonna grab your orange, red, and yellow. Well, orange, yellow. I would say don't use yellow, use like an orange, yellow, orange, so that these colors kind of mix and look a lot better together. Let's start with this fish that's right here at the bottom. So because your lines are different, your fish is also gonna look different, and it's gonna have maybe more spaces than I do. So you could just start filling them in, and it's really up to you where you wanna put these colors. I'm gonna start with one color, just putting in a couple sections at a time, you know, alternating between my red, orange, and yellow. so there you have it. One fish is done. Now just repeat that on the 2 other fish that are left. Keep in mind is that you're not putting 2 colors that are the same right next to each other, just so that they don't look like they're a part of the same clump. Okay, so we're just trying to alternate between colors. So this one I have to put red, so I'm just gonna do that, but that's okay. It's just a small part. Okay, so now that my fish are done, I'm going to go on to my lily pads. So just doing the same thing with the lily pads, coloring them in you know, whichever how many spaces you have. Super simple, super straightforward. Once you've done that, we can go ahead with our blues and start doing the water. Now, I recommend you have at least 4 colors of blues, maybe 3 to 4, just so that it looks really cool and there's a lot of different colors, different like shades of blue. It'll make it look a lot more impressive. So same thing, let's just start. When you're coloring, please remember to color in one direction. This will just make your artwork look a lot more clean and neat, and it's a good thing to practice because I know your teachers are probably always telling you to always color in one direction. So it's a good reminder and something to practice. is the final product. Make sure you guys are getting all of the white spots and going into some areas maybe where you missed. But it should look something like that. So I hope this was fun for you guys and enjoy.